What's up, everybody? So my window's not rolling up. I can get it to go down, but it's not coming up. So what happens on these types of switches is we have inside this door, there's a motor that ends up controlling the window. And there's a decent amount of amperage that motor needs in order for it to do its job. And what ends up happening is over a period of time, the points inside these switches, they start oxidizing and they start getting carbon buildup from sparks and stuff because of that large amperage. So we're going to end up fixing this right now. If you take this to the dealer or something, they're going to want to replace the whole thing because these are not individual switches from what I remember. It's like a whole unit, and they're going to charge you quite a bit. But I'm going to show you how you can fix this, and all it takes is time and no money. So we're going to end up pulling this piece off, and you just grab it from the front, pull it up, and then back here you want to kind of slide it out a little bit here. And after, oops, well, I just broke that. I'll fix it. Yep, I broke that sumbitch. Well, let me see. I'll make that work. Alright, so we got this out, and you're going to see that this is like a whole unit right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to end up pulling these connectors out. And of course, this couldn't happen to me at a worse time. I was driving down the street and I was trying to spit out a Sausalito pit, and I couldn't roll up the window and it started raining. And I'm trying to do this with one hand, so it's not really cooperating. So I'm going to turn the camera off, remove these, and then take it onto a bench or something where I can take the rest of this apart and you can see what I'm doing. Ignore the mess here. This is just my guitar stuff. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and if we look at this, we're going to see that there's a unit here, and this unit. And this is the unit that we're going to be taking out. I'm going to remove this by basically pulling these tabs right here, doing the exact same thing. Okay, so the rear two are there. There we go. 3. It's not always an easy task. And 4. So now we got this guy out of there. And now we're going to have to remove the rear of this. And same thing, you're going to see that there's little tabs here. So let me just go ahead and kind of pop these right here. So that side is loose. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. There we go. Gently remove this. Circuit board, we don't have to fool with the circuit board too much. These guys will just pop right out. If you just kind of put this in here, and there we go. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Now the circuit board will come out. So after you take this apart, you're going to notice we have some LEDs here. These LEDs are soldered into here, and they're held into place with this little plastic piece. So what I'm going to do is, I don't need to remove these, so I'm just going to try to move these dudes to the side so I can get to this switch over here. Hopefully that's fine. That's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to have to take the switch apart. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this off. And I'm just using everything that I'm doing right now. I'm just using a very small flathead jeweler's screwdriver. Be careful because sometimes there's little springs inside these types of switches. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in a spot that I know I'm not going to end up losing it. Okay, and I'm looking inside here, seeing if there's anything. Yeah, there's a bunch of buildup. This probably pops off too. Yes, it does. So far, so good. And we also have like little clamp things here on the side. This is where you want to be really gentle. You don't want to lose anything. Okay.
So these are our contacts right here. And I'm going to gently remove one of these.
Now if I get this kind of close, you're going to be able to see that there's carbon buildup on these two guys right here.
So I'm going to put that down. There's carbon buildup also on these points. At this point, I think I can just pull this guy out. Let me look on the rear of this. These two look okay.
So here's my emery board. Let me move this to the side.
Probably as good as I'm going to be able to get with that, because what happens is, because of the arcs of electricity, it actually is almost like a slight weld, and it starts eating away some of the metal.
This is deoxit, and this is to help clean electronics. This dissolves corrosion, improves contact, and protects the surfaces according to this. So let's give it a shot and see if it actually works. It wouldn't be so bad, but it seems to me that the way that the pressure is on this, it's not like WD-40. It's almost like a pump that you do yourself. So that's a little interesting. I'm not used to seeing something like that. So I've got my Q-tip. Well, that definitely cleans a bunch of stuff up. I have to admit that works really well on this piece of copper. This worked really well. Back here probably wouldn't hurt for me to do it one more time. Okay, so that looks pretty damn clean, and I have to admit this deoxit stuff worked really well in that situation. I mean, it just ate that stuff right away with no problems. This is the side that was in the side that where I was getting the majority of the arcing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in on the other side, and put the one that actually is a little bit more new looking, and put that over on this side. Now that I've got those back in place, I'm going to end up taking the piece that I had removed, snapping it back into place, taking this dude right here, and since this is spring loaded right here, I'm going to do this upside down, so that way I know I'm not going to end up losing the spring when I snap that back in place. Okay, making sure that the switch works. That's good. Snap this gray piece back on where it belongs, which was right there. This is the auto thing for it to go down automatically. I'm going to bend this back in place as well as this, and I'm not going to bother putting this piece of plastic back in, because all it does is really just kind of hold these in place, and I think that this is going to be good enough. So with that being said, let's go ahead and slip this back in place. Turn this over. I'm not going to put that on yet. Pop these back on. So let's go ahead and slip this back in place. It looks like these points got slightly bent when I was messing with this.
Okay, make sure that everything is snapped back together. That looks good to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this and we'll give it a shot and see if it works. Okay, so everything is back together. What I did for that piece of plastic that was broken, I just ended up using some epoxy and gluing it back on. I'm going to put the keys in. And let's see if what I did worked. Bingo, baby. Let me see if it goes down correctly. Yep. Good. We're cooking with gas. Anyway, guys, that's that. It's just cleaning the points. A lot of times switches, when they go bad, the switch in and of itself is not bad. It's just the points are dirty. That deoxit stuff, you know, now that I think about it, I could have probably just sprayed that inside there without taking it apart, and it might have worked, right? So just something to keep in mind. But now I don't have to worry about being rained on anymore when I'm eating Sadalitos. Anyway, guys, till next time, I'll talk to you later.